Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, and your Dean, Ambassador Gay Nestor Itua, representatives of international organizations, members of the Consular Corps, senior government officials, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to be with you and thank you for answering our invitation so positively. I'm now in attendance. I welcome the new envoys who presented their credentials earlier today. I wish to always want to thank various partners through the representation we have here of ambassadors and high commissioners and other representatives. Every year we have this diplomatic community gathering, and I want to use this moment every time to say that it's not enough to say thank you. I think what we have achieved through our partnership is a lot more than just saying thank you. And it provides us with an opportunity, this gathering, to talk more to each other as to how we can take further dialogue and partnership in many areas of mutual interest. Evidently for the benefit of our people and the nations. Before I continue, let me take this opportunity to express our deep condolences to Turkey and through the ambassador who presented his credentials today for what is happening in the country or has happened, enormous loss of life and destruction of property, unprecedented. So, Mr. Ambassador, just to know that our country, like many other countries, have expressed, we are with your people, your country, and the leadership of your country. Now, after thanking all of you, which I really have to do and meant from the bottom of my heart for the partnership that has taken Rwanda this far, and having given our condolences, and having heard from our Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps said many things, what has happened here in Rwanda and what continues to happen and what will soon happen. In fact, soon, next month we have another big gathering here, FIFA Congress, which in its own right is a huge event. Many others. So we are happy we can have people gather here for different things, and again, it's what we wish to see. As I continue to want to express myself, I know also for most of you, if not all, have many questions about, well, for what happens here in our country, you know very well. That's why you are here. I'm sure you follow very closely. What you may not know, maybe in detail, but I also am not naive. You actually know that. It's between our country and other countries. I'm saying I'm not naive because I know you have, many of you, the ambassadors here representing your countries. You have also your colleagues representing your countries in those countries that are close to us. So I'm sure you are well informed. Only, of course, the caveat here is maybe you are informed differently. The story about what is at the border, let's say, between us and Congo, has one version in Kigali and has another version in Kinshasa, depending on many things. So I'm not to go into that. But recently we had a summit in Bujumbura, Burundi. And this was to address the challenges we have in Eastern Congo and maybe Congo as a whole, but affecting all neighbors, I guess, but more the three neighbors of Congo, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi. Again, of the three, probably affecting Rwanda more than the other two. But I don't want to raise it in that way of saying one is affected more than the other. That's not the point. I would just wish to indulge you in a different way for obvious reasons. So in our broad partnership, there are these things we have to deal with, which sometimes may even threaten what we have built over many years together with your support. Some of us have to make sure that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen here. Neither do we want that to happen anywhere else where you have partnership with other people. That is my starting point. But I don't know whether you share this with me, but I just bringing out as I feel and as I see it. I think in this room we do different things, but basically around diplomacy, many people are diplomats here. Others do politics, like some of us. It wasn't our first choice to do politics, but we find ourselves here in any case. What I have learned over the years politics and diplomacy are very strange things, very strange. I don't know whether it is because of the world order we find ourselves in today, or it has always been like this, or it will always be like this. But in politics and in diplomacy, there tends to lack, or rather, people don't tend to commit to the truth, to facts, or evidence. It is only everything in between. You avoid the truth, there's avoidance of facts or evidence. What does that mean? So the truth tends to be a matter of perception, or is subjective. And that's how we go along. And sometimes things defy logic or reason. It's just that you hear what I'm telling you, especially when it comes to big powers. That's why I talked about the world order. The world order is not shaped by me, it is shaped by other people, other factors for us we have to follow. Let me pick one example I wanted to say. For what is happening in between us and Congo and within Congo and all the... And I'm raising this because every time, wherever I go, many people I meet, same questions keep coming up. I'm just talking about my personal experience. Others may be experiencing different things. I'm asked the same questions. I try to give the answers, but because I'm asked so many times, I try to give answers, same answers, but in a different way to see if the one asking, maybe who did not understand last time we met, by way of reframing or rephrasing what I'm answering, they may understand. But it keeps coming the same way. So what does this mean? And I want to build on that to give you an example. The problems between us, Rwanda and Congo, and happening in Eastern Congo, even if it involves other people. Now we are into it more than 20 years, between 20 and 25 years. And things keep happening of this kind we have today, almost in cycles, every 5 years. There is something like this, similar to this. 5 years, we have something. 5 years, we have something. like the current situation we have was there 10 years ago, 2012. 2012, we had a similar situation. Handled differently, things different, but we had a similar thing, 10 years ago. So my question here is, look at what has happened. We have had a UN peacekeeping mission in Congo. Around that, for over 20 years. So it covers 10 years before that, and then the 10 years I have just said, that mark last year, 2022. So my question is, if diplomacy and politics have no problem, as I was suspecting, as I said, why would you have tens of thousands of peacekeepers in a place for over 20 years, costing tens of billions of dollars, and it keeps going. Nobody even says, wait, let's, because I think I suspected, if it is politics, if it is business, if it is diplomacy, if it is, normally what I would suspect would happen is people after time, they take stock. They say, wait a minute, 5 years we are running a mission. What are we achieving? What are we achieving? What are we getting for our money? What are we getting for the lives of our peacekeepers? Normal stock would be taken, and there you can recalibrate or do things differently the way you want. But thing just keeps roaring, irrespective of what is happening. But I thought the mission had been created to try and address some of the issues in that country, for the benefit of the country, but also for the benefit of the neighbors who are affected. But that doesn't happen. As I have told you, what happened in 2012 happens in 2022. And still we are going. So what problem are we addressing in actual fact as the international community, which Rwanda is only a very tiny part of? What do we want to achieve? Of course, there are things I cannot blame those who want to help, even if they end up helping the wrong way. And I think that's our political culture here. We don't start by blaming others. I think we start by blaming ourselves. That has helped us in a way. We look at ourselves before we talk about others. So if we find mistakes, if things can be corrected, then we can go ahead and make corrections. So I don't want to blame everything on the outside, because in the end, the outsiders, whether it is in Rwanda or in DRC or anywhere, they can do only so much. Even if sometimes there is a pretense that they can actually address our problems. No, I think there are two parts to it. There are those they can help, those parts they can help address, the problems they can help fix. There are others only the people of that country can fix. I mean, that's a fact. You cannot govern my country, you cannot govern Congo, you cannot govern any other country on their behalf, on our behalf. No. It would be a big mistake, which I hope maybe over the years I thought we could have learned something. So I wouldn't blame anybody for what is my problem that I need to fix, and blame somebody else for not being the one to fix it. That's, for us, a guiding principle. That's what we believe in. There are things for us to fix. There are things we can fix with the help of others, like I started with thanking the partnership we have with many of you. So really the question here begged is, today, it doesn't matter. It's as if we get lost in he said, he did, the other one said, he did, he said, and it goes on and on and on, except fixing the actual problem. And that's how sometimes you find people find the easy way. The easy way to fix it is put it on somebody's back and say, no, the problem is this one. In this case, the song I have heard repeated by the leaders of Congo, and sometimes others become even sympathetic and accompany that thinking by making pronouncements that it is Rwanda. This is why I'm saying, I think in the order we have today, in diplomacy and politics, the facts, the reasoning, the logic, the evidence doesn't matter. It's dead. But here, let me tell you something. Even for those who think they are doing that because they must protect, they must do what, and their interests, you are dead wrong, you are mistaken, because one, by continuing to do that, you encourage somebody to be unreasonable and not actually fix the problem they were supposed to fix. If you go to Kinshasa and blame Rwanda, like Kinshasa is saying, all you are doing is you are actually telling Kinshasa, you don't have to do anything. The problem is on the other side. We are going to fix that problem for you. We are going to raise that issue with those people whom you keep blaming, and we are here to accompany you. That is the first mistake. The second mistake is when you say you are pursuing your interests, it's a way of making sure you're on good terms with this one so that you fix your interests and they are catered for. The big mistake you are making is this person has dishonored dozens of agreements he has made with the people, and you think he's going to honor anything about you? If every, including even last time we were in Bujumbura, we discussed, he was the president, the leader was there, and his entourage. We discussed things, it was in the open, he participated, we wrote a communique giving people a sense of what we discussed and the way forward. The communique is read, but the next day, the opposite communique is read in Kinshasa. Now, can you tell me that so many of us and others far away are so deaf and blind to these facts? So, how do you expect to address such a problem? We have told people publicly, openly, including those leaders, that look, it's not enough, it has never worked anywhere, that you have problems, instead of fixing those problems or needing help to fix them, and you tell whoever is your friend to come and help to fix it, you run away from those problems and you just decide somebody somewhere else is the one to be held accountable for that. And the whole world gets fooled about it, and sometimes to the level that they make pronouncements that are not helpful. They say Rwanda has presence and activities in Eastern Congo. My answer to that has always been and continues to be, why would you think Rwanda has to be in Congo, Eastern Congo? Why? If you understand why, the way to get Rwanda out of this equation is by addressing that problem. We have had the FDLR story, these remnants of genocide perpetrators, for the last more or less a generation. Close to 30 years. It's not a fiction. It's not a myth. It's not anything created. It's a fact. So I tell people, before you even get an answer from me as to what activities we are in Congo or about or not, you have to answer me why this problem is there. Why anybody would fire artillery across our border and kill our people? Why FDLR in 2019 in November would cross the border and kill our people in Kinigi and elsewhere? You would have to answer me why. I'm not even asking you to come and help me fix that problem. When they get across the border, we fix it. But why don't we fix that problem from the source? Why? Why are people ambiguous? And it's like when the issue of FDR comes up, when these questions are asked me and when I'm answering, I raise issues of FDR, it's like they want to escape. There is a story behind that maybe some of us don't understand. Does anyone in this world want to keep this FDR story going forever? Maybe there are people who want to keep it going forever. Maybe there are people who don't even care. It's their right. I have no quarrel with those. But boy, you are joking if you think some of us, Rwandans, who know the story about them, will ever agree with you. Anyone thinking like that is just absolutely mistaken. It's about us. It's about our lives. It's about our story. It's about our history. It's about our identity. It's about our existence. And nobody in this world is the one responsible for us. No, we are responsible for ourselves. There's no question about it. I keep repeating it. I say it again because that's what it is. That's a fact. If we want to change the fact through diplomacy or through politics or through interests or through whatever, well, I can only do so much. But within my means, I will do everything that can be done to make sure that that story of FDR and the genocide and with which people play around with doesn't visit us again. The rest, we can keep massaging the problem and playing around with it, and I don't know what to do about it. You know, there are these reports you hear about, reports about there's something called a group of experts. They make reports. Those who task them one day add something else they should look at, what I've just said. Can't the experts find out for us why this story of FDR keeps going on? Why it has to wait until it even results into hate speech and killings and persecution that is going on currently? Can't they tell us the story? Who is behind the hate speech? Who is behind the killings? Who? What is the story of continued existence of FDR? Some experts need to tell us if they are worth being called the name. I know they are actually worth it. They have the capacity. But again, it's the politics, it's the diplomacy. So somebody with full expertise and knowledge and skill is just, you know, as kids, I was taught by when you were young, at school, by Indian children who were going to school together in high school, how to fly kites. Kites, So these experts are flown like kites. They just, no, I mean, sometimes the experts need to be experts and not be flown like kites. I'm saying all this running into the risk of boring you, but when it is my time, it is my time. I try to use it. After all, I'm taking your time after we have shared a meal, so I don't think you are hungry, and you can ask for a drink if you want. So the moment is I don't want to go back home with something left in my heart and then I say, why did I not say this? Even when I'm taking a moment and pausing, I'm trying to remember something I could have forgotten, to bring it out, so that I go out of this room lighter than I came. But so those people who, but the blame should go where it should go. There's no, yes, and I think we have had these moments to tell the same leaders I'm talking about, this truth I'm telling you. Yes. This one I will tell anybody. And I had a few moments not so long ago to say this to the one that needed to be told directly. Nobody needs to keep crying about the problems they are causing and continuing to carry forward and only blames it on other people. And I hope recently those who were in the earshot of Pope Francis heard what he said. I really hope so, except if it is only to hear the message and then turn it into something else, like the communique is turned into something else. But I think he was very clear. And I'm not talking the other part which some people liked about foreign exploitation, that's also a tired story. No, but he said something else, as I heard. Talked about governance, talked about hate speech and so on and so forth, and the suffering of the people. And I think that message should have rang something in people's ears, if they are worth being leaders of people. And that's what is at stake. So please, you always bear with us. We always want to tell you things as we feel, as we think, as we see them, and step away a little bit from politics and diplomacy, and maybe wait later on to fight the battles that we have to fight, but for peace. I think everyone needs peace. And you could do us a favor by being mindful of what needs to be addressed, other than taking the easy route to addressing serious and complex issues as there. Finally, I wish you a very happy 2023, and hopefully as you go into the middle of it, we might see peace and prosperity that we so urgently need in this region. All the best to you. So will you please join me to a toast, and to the good health and prosperity of all our peoples and countries in this new year. Cheers.